This is black Premo clay on a very thin setting. I'm not sure. Let's see. It's very thin. Probably number 5 or thereabouts on my pasta machine, where number 1 is the thickest. Anyway, I am playing with the golden Pearl Mica Flake small, applied first through a stencil, and a black mica flake small patted randomly over that. Once it dries, the white parts will be transparent, and then just the glittery parts will remain. So I will take another shot of this. One thing I did discover is that I make a lot of stencils on my Cameo silhouette, and one of them I have drying over here, and I use one of the more successful methods is, see, this is the one I just used, and I had done this several years ago, not for use with polymer clay, but with art journals and painted pages and that type of thing. So I have several, don't think you can see them because it's, yeah, there it is. I have several stencils on here. And I had used it several years ago with paint. And as I was washing the golden mica flakes off, the paint came off. So what I discovered, or rethought about, because I kind of knew this before, is this polypropylene. These are page protectors. Paint doesn't really want to stay on these anyway. I guess I just didn't bother washing the paint off when I used it the last time. But I wasted a lot of this rather expensive golden mica flakes paint that I just washed off, that I put on that black polymer clay. Had I had another polymer clay sheet ready, when I pulled this off of the one I just did, which filled in the holes, I could have just flipped it onto another piece of polymer clay, and it would have taken everything that was left, which means everything that was covered by the plastic would now be transferred onto the polymer clay. So I really wasted the medium. In the future I will have two pieces of polymer clay ready, and I will use my stencils for one application, flip it over onto the other polymer clay, and then get the reverse, if you know what I mean. The paint that stuck to the parts that were not cut out would then apply to another blank sheet of clay. So I won't waste it the next time, and then would wash the residue. You can also do this with paint. So you put this on, you apply the paint, flip it over, and you get the reverse. So because the paint, especially when dry, when it's wet, it might smear a little bit, but when the paint is dry, those little bits of paint that I didn't wash off yet, those would transfer to polymer clay very easily. In fact, I think they're dry now. So let me see if I can show you an example of what might be true there. And I can do that right here. Let me move a few things. Oh lordy, I'm a mess. Okay, let this piece dry, but I have a tiny bit here. Now it's probably not going to show up because it's black, but let's see, is this, you have to figure out which side has the paint, and I think it's this side here. So burnish that, and it will transfer, I think, if I've got the right side. Yeah, there. See, it lifted right off the polypropylene sheet that had old, and this paint is a couple of years old, But there you go. So the nice thing is you can use your stencil 2 ways and not waste the paint. For example, let's see if this will transfer. I think it will. Well, it didn't want to go this time. What probably happened is I might have flipped over my stencil when I used it, and the paint is really on the opposite side. Anyway, that's a tip there, that if you wanted to use these, let's see where that one is. I can't feel, see the paint. Oh, am I pulling up the paint? Yeah, so I may have used this a couple of times, and the paint is actually on the side. I may have used it, yeah, let's try that and see if that will do it. No, I think I had it right the first time, but it didn't transfer as well as the blue paint and the red paint. But to do a distressed look, or these polypropylene stencils are really wonderful. I like them. They embed into the clay without leaving a mark because they're so thin. And I cut them out on my silhouette cameo that I've had for years, and I can just make them any size I want. What I love about it is I have even made really tiny little stencils. So anyway, that's a tip of the day, waiting for this lovely thing to dry, and I will take another photo of it when it does dry. But in the meantime, what I did on purple clay, this is kind of how it should look, except this one was just using the one mica flake. And then I tried a little bit of, I have a little bit of the gold. Now the medium that carries all of this, the flakes and the glitter, does get attached to the clay, and that's what you see is shining. You won't see it if you push it through a stencil like this, pretty much. And I made a pair of earrings already out of it. But this this beautiful piece was done with a stencil, not quite the same one as that because it has breaks in it, but this one was using the, which I think is going to be my favorite one. I wish I had bought more of it, but the Pearl Mica Flake small. See, a little sample of it has been painted there. The gold is a little on the brassy side. I thought it would be a nice light gold. But that's the one, and then this is supposed to be the small flakes. But I think I can, like I did on this one here, mix them. I've mixed 2. I bet I could have mixed a little bit of gold in there too, and it would have been interesting. Anyway, just a tip on some interesting surface techniques. And this stuff is on there pretty good. It is on there really good. So, and I have a pair of earrings that I made and that have not been baked yet. But I think I'm going to really like this stuff, and it's fun to add a little bit of glitter to the work. And could be applied over painted surfaces as well. There's really a lot of different applications. So this is just by way of my first test.